Hey everyone, Brad here. Today I'm just going to do a little video of the installation of the CRK HO. That's the Cowl Relocation Kit, horn optional. I'll be doing this on my ZRX1100. The part is available through the ZRX Owners Association. Don Foley to be specific, if you're looking for one for yourself. I'm going to show you before and we'll take you through the steps. Don's provided some really good instructions with the kit, and hopefully this goes nice and smooth. So first thing we need to do is to get the cowl off. There's basically four fasteners for it. There's two 10 millimeters here underneath, right here and here. And we have to replace or remove these 6 millimeter Allen bolts. These are what hold the cowl onto the frame for the cowl. The cowl is off. I just went ahead and removed these. You'll notice with the Allen bolts, there's these small plastic washers. You want to make sure you don't lose these. The bolts from the bottom, they have a bit of a spacer built into them. Here's where the mounts were for these, just underneath the headlight. And you can see this is the mounts for the Allen bolts up here. Our next step is to remove the two 10 millimeter flange nuts underneath the gauge cluster. There's one on each side. They're a little hard to see here in the video, but essentially they're the top part of the frame that hold the cowl on, and it's right here. So we'll go ahead and loosen this. It's basically in the same location on the other side. So let's just get these off. Okay, that's our two flange bolts. Took those out in here on either side. We want to put those back with our other bolts that we've been holding on to. Now we have to take out two more that attach the cowl to the lower triple tree. Let's see, that's these right here. They basically go through the mount for the splitter for the front brake. So we'll get these two out. These should also be 10 millimeter. So as soon as we get these out, we'll lay those aside and move on to the next step. Okay, so this is our two bolts that connected the lower portion of the cage, the cowl frame, to the lower triple tree. We're going to hold on to these even though the instructions say new hardware is included, but retain them for possible future use. From here we've also gently taken the frame off of the studs on the bottom of the cluster, instrument cluster. So you can see the frame is basically just hanging here now. We can move it freely. So we're let that gently hang. Trying not to scratch anything up. And we'll move on to the next step. Okay, well, I had to stop for a moment here because as I started trying to put the bracket here in the lower triple tree, I realized my triple tree front wheel stand was getting slightly in the way. Another difference, another quick change I had to make is, you'll see these bolts. There's one on each side here that holds the headlight on. This one's a little different because I actually had my horn already relocated to the inside. So I went ahead and took the bolt off and kind of hung the horn over here to the side just to get it out of the way before we can continue with the rest of the parts. Next thing I'm going to do is install these sleeves. They're M6 threaded sleeves, and we'll be putting these onto the studs that are underneath the instrument cluster. Now we'll also be using these to screw into the studs, basically to give the bracket something to hold on to, to screw into using the flange nuts we took off earlier. There is an Allen key on one end here, so I'm going to go ahead and thread in a little bit of the end without the Allen key, just to make it easier once we get it in place. Once we have both of these in place, as you can see I've got one installed here. We're going to tighten that with a pair of vice grips and just adjust this nut in more once we get these both tightened up. Okay, so I have the sleeves in. Some scuff marks here where I tightened them with a pair of pliers. This is a 3mm Allen, so we'll want to snug in these metric or these Allen head bolts. Like I said, this is where the bracket will be reattaching, the cowl bracket. My wiring is a little bit in the way, but yeah, we'll hand tighten this a little bit. So these two here. One thing I'll note, I mean, one of the things you should be doing here is, and it's suggested in the instructions as well, is use Loctite and use the factory torque specs. I'm not really doing that, and there's a reason for that. Is because I do have plans to do a little bit more work on the front end of this bike. So I don't want to put anything permanent on, or even semi-permanent blue Loctite. Right now, I will do that when I reapply it, but you can kind of consider this a dry run of sorts. So let's get the rest of these tightened up. So I kind of jumped ahead and installed the studs on the gauge cluster first, when the instructions actually say to install the bracket. This bracket, these bottom holes are threaded, and this is basically what the frame for the cowl will screw into. The upper holes are what will connect through the triple tree and will basically attach through the splitter for the front brake line. Now, I wasn't sure about the orientation on the bracket. It didn't really say, but basically the horn is going to relocate here on the bottom, in this piece here, this hole. So we're going to have it facing outwards. Now, you'll notice this bracket is flat. So one thing I've noticed is that if you look, I don't know how clear the brake splitter here is, but it goes in a little bit. There's a gap here. So we need to put a washer here where my finger is, put the bracket on, and then put the bolt through it. Luckily, the kit has come with just that. So we'll use this bolt, basically like this, with the washer on one side and the bolt going through the other side. Hope that wasn't too shaky here for you. I'll try to be a little more steady. Let's get this in place. Okay, so I have the bracket installed here now. I made a slight little change. I used the OEM bolts. Wish that speedo cable wasn't in the way. I should disconnect it, but hopefully you can see this. I used the OEM bolts that hold the cowl frame on to attach the bracket. What I did was, because it's not flush with the mounts on the brake line splitter, I used two washers in behind. I don't know if you can see that or not, but that was just to make it a little more level and not squat as I tightened it in, to make it dip down on the bottom end and move in towards the bike. It seems to be a bit of a flusher mount this way. Now, I will say that the instructions do say that, you might have to vary the installation slightly. So this is my slight varying. Maybe it's just being a little bit picky. I don't know, but seems to be under okay. And now you'll see the threaded holes on the bottom of the plate. This is where we're going to attach the cowl frame into, using the bolts supplied. Okay, well, lower bracket's on. Because I used I took that speedo cable out of the way. I had the camera off as well here to make it hopefully a little more clear. But like I said, I used the OEM brackets on the top clamp here. So on the bottom, what I did was there was two sets of Allen bolts included with the kit. Two short ones, two long ones. So I ended up using the two long ones, put a washer in between, gone through the frame, goes through the bracket, which is threaded, the bracket is. But what I did was I also laid, there was a couple of nuts included in the kit, so I put a nut on. Now, if you're going to put the nut on, which I'll Loctite later, you can see it's still loose here, hold the nut flush against the bracket as you're screwing this in, because you see the curve of the splitter. If you screw this in all the ways and then try to put the nut on, there's not quite enough room right here. So make sure you do that first if you plan on double securing it with both the thread in the bracket and nut on the back. So I can already notice a significant change in the height of the headlight. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to use I'm going to move my horn since I actually have a proper bracket now for it rather than just having it rigged up on the inside of my headlight. We'll do this properly. So back here, let me grab my horn, try not to hit anything. Here's my horn. So what we'll do is this is the bracket that was used to attach mine on the inside of the headlight. Whether that's OEM or not, I don't know. I believe it is. You know, most people have them mounted here underneath the rad. Mine didn't come like this. When I bought mine, whoever had it before me had actually put the horn inside the bikini, inside the cowl themselves. So what we'll do is we'll just take this OEM hardware off. So all we have is the, assuming it's OEM, so all we have is the stud sticking out here. Okay, so here's the bracket that I was holding my horn on. It was just a single 11mm bolt. With this bracket, it came up through this rubber grommet. So I've also removed the rubber grommet from the adapter, the OEM adapter. Now, if you'll notice, see that? I'm not sure if you can or not, but the actual bracket itself has a similar shape, circle with two wings on each side. So we're going to put this grommet basically into the bracket, taking it off the OEM bracket. And once we get that in place, we'll route the horn cables down through here and reattach them. Okay, horns are installed. I routed my cable down through, a little funky, so it came down on both sides. But it seems to work okay. Make sure you hook up the wires to the correct sides, otherwise your horn might not work. It is DC. So the other thing to remember is make sure you reuse the washer. Mine did have a washer and a nut. It wasn't built in because you're going into the rubber grommet. You're going to need a washer there. Otherwise, it's probably just going to pop right out. So, anyways, everything is in place here now. You can see the horn on this side, a little clear. So what we'll do now is we'll throw the cowl back on and see what the difference is. Okay, so we have everything reinstalled. Here is the cowl. It's significantly lower. I can notice the difference with how much at the top of the fork is showing now compared to before. Everything is a lot lower here. It did come out okay. Don't mind the speedo cable. As I said, I do have a bit more work I need to do on this, so I will be taking it apart again. I just put the four screws in, 4 bolts in temporarily here. Just hand tighten them so you can see what it looks like. So yeah, but the only drawback to this, as you can see, there's the horn, is that it looks like I won't be able to use my triple tree front stand anymore. It's kind of a drag, considering I sold my old one to get this one. So yeah, I'll figure out something there. But either way, it looks good. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it gives a little bit of insight for anyone who's picking up the CRK HO kit for a ZRX. And like I said, this is my 1100 Kawasaki ZRX. I say ZAD because I'm in Canada. You can say ZRX or Rex, whichever you prefer, depending on where you are in the world. If you like this video, please let me know. This is my first instructional video, so hopefully it's not too shaky. I have a few more planned. You'll notice the seats off the bike. I'm going to be cutting down my rear tail light soon to make it a little bit more flush as well. But I'll save that for another time. Anyways, thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you soon.